Angelina Jolie's lawyer orders ex-Brad Pitt to let her go as actor is accused of launching shameful cover-up in legal docs of Hollywood's most bitter divorce. Angelina Jolie's lawyer made a highly unusual public appeal to her ex-husband Brad Pitt, asking the actor to let her go on Friday. Paul Murphy, her attorney, said, "She looks forward to the day when he is finally able to let her go." Pitt is accused of sandbagging his former wife by filing a response to documents which her team say was designed to cause a press event. Her team also say that the latest legal skirmishes, which concern Pitt requiring Jolie to sign an NDA as part of a deal to sell her portion of their vineyard, are part of a shameful cover-up of his abuse of her and are about power and control. The appeal follows a declaration by a former bodyguard which was lodged at the LA Superior Court by Pitt's side. It accused Jolie of trying to drive a wedge between Pitt and their 6 children. Jolie's team are now moving to have that filing struck. It's thought that the 3 eldest children, Maddox, Pax, and Zahara, have no relationship with Pitt, and son Pax said in an Instagram post 3 years ago that his father was a world-class asshole and fucking awful human being who made his children tremble with fear. Pitt is no longer seeking to vary custody arrangements for the 3 children who are under 18, following protracted legal action which failed. Meanwhile, battle rages over the vineyard they once co-owned, which Ms. Jolie sold to billionaire Yuri Scheffler of the Stoli Group. Pitt argues went against their agreement to offer the other the right of first refusal. Paul Murphy, attorney for Angelina Jolie, said, "Mr. Pitt's continued attempt to equate common NDAs for security personnel and housekeepers covering confidential information employees learn at work, with him demanding an expanded NDA to ensure the continued cover-up of his deplorable actions remains shameful. This case is not about NDAs in general, but about power and control. All Angelina has ever wanted was separation and health, with positive relationships between all members of their family, including Mr. Pitt. She looks forward to the day when he is finally able to let her go." A source close to the case adds that the former bodyguard Tony Webb, who made the declaration, was present on the tarmac when Pitt allegedly attacked Jolie and the children in the 2016 incident on a private plane which ended the marriage. The source said, "Webb is on Pitt's payroll and worked for the same security team whose other members stood on the tarmac in LA and turned a blind eye to Pitt's actions that day." Webb's declaration also conveniently leaves out the fact that the second security guard mentioned in the declaration, though called to testify by Pitt, testified in favor of Angelina, not against her. In legal papers seen by DailyMail.com, Jolie objects to and moves to strike the declaration of their former bodyguard, filed by Pitt on Wednesday. The filing notes, "Pitt clearly is trying to gain an unfair advantage by offering this contested evidence for the first time on reply when Jolie has no opportunity to respond. The law is crystal clear that this form of evidence sandbagging grossly violates due process of law and should be struck. The general rule of motion practice is that new evidence is not permitted with reply papers." It adds, "The Webb declaration has no relevance to this case or to the issue presented by Pitt's motion. In fact, the Webb declaration, which does not mention the word Miraval a single time, serves to demonstrate exactly why other NDAs involving other parties and other circumstances are irrelevant and will, as Jolie predicted in her opposition brief, cause a mini-trial on each and every NDA Pitt claims is relevant to this case." The Webb declaration illustrates the point. Pitt is now claiming that conversations with 2 contractors, security guards, about testimony in a different case are somehow relevant here. Jolie contests the testimony's relevance, its credibility, Webb works for Pitt, and its accuracy. To resolve this, the court would have to have a mini-trial on this issue alone, yet none of it explains whether Pitt's demand for an expanded NDA from Jolie as a condition of purchasing her interest in Miraval was the reason the deal they had struck fell apart. If this evidence truly was relevant and material to Pitt's motion, he would have, indeed was required to, offer it in his moving papers. That he did not do so tells the court all it needs to know about the strength of Pitt's motion and, frankly, his true purpose in filing the Webb Declaration, to create a press event and again put external pressure on Jolie. The declaration is irrelevant and violates Jolie's due process rights. The court should strike the declaration. Former SAS soldier Webb claims that Angelina Jolie's personal assistant threatened to sue him and a colleague if they gave evidence in Jolie and Brad Pitt's custody battle. Webb's colleague overheard Jolie encouraging the children to avoid spending time with Pitt during custody visits. Pitt's lawyers have lodged a motion calling Jolie a hypocrite for wanting to control him through an NDA while using similar contracts to silence her own staff. Webb states that 2 contractors were subpoenaed to give evidence at the custody hearings, exposing conversations between Jolie and the children. He was instructed by Jolie's personal assistant, Michael Vieira, to stop the contractors from testifying. But Webb had no power over them as they were independent contractors. Vieira warned Webb that both men had signed NDAs with Jolie and that she would sue them if they testified. Despite this, one of the contractors stated that he would testify regardless of the NDA if he received a court subpoena. He intended to testify about statements he overheard from Jolie, encouraging the children to avoid spending time with Pitt. Webb, an ex-SAS soldier from England, set up SRS Global Security Lieutenant before working for Pitt and Jolie. Jolie's attorneys claim that Pitt physically abused her and the children, causing ongoing post-traumatic stress. They allege that Pitt has a history of control and cover-ups. Jolie has evidence of his alleged abuse and attempts to conceal it. Pitt denies all allegations of physical abuse and was not charged following an FBI probe. The couple met on the set of Mr. and Mrs. Smith in 2004 and bought Chateau Miraval in 2008. They have 6 children and were married at Chateau Miraval in 2014 before Jolie filed for divorce in 2016. The hearing on Pitt's NDA motion is scheduled for May 16th, with a full trial expected later.
Start now by hitting the round subscribe icon so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.